Hi everybody, welcome to Sacred Gateways to Awakening. Thank you so much for joining me. I am Jan Mead. This is a great workshop. I'm excited to share it with you. What we're going to cover here are the 7 chakras. So whether you have a lot of experience with this or a little bit of experience, I think that you'll find a lot of great techniques and you'll have a lot of fun with it. So my intention with this workshop is to help you to connect with your own energy system, to actually have an experience of it, not only have an intellectual understanding. So there's quite a difference there. And for many years I had an intellectual understanding of it, and then when I began to have actual physical experiences of my own energy system, that is when things really began to shift in my life. So this is not just some new age theory, it actually is your own wiring and energy that's within your body. Now, why is it important to do these practices? Well, if you are not happy with the results that you're having in your life in any area, or perhaps you're happy with them but know that they can be even better than they are, then actually going through the body, going through the energy system, shifting your energy can be tremendously powerful in helping you to open up and expand your life experience. The chakras are basically, the energy in the chakras are mirrored in our experiences in our daily life. So say you're having challenges with your primary relationship, whatever that might be, then the chakras that might be involved with that are the second chakra, second, third, and fourth. And maybe it's the second and the fifth, maybe it's the first and the fifth, maybe it's all of them. So by understanding the elements of each chakra and what each chakra rules, you're going to be able to direct your practice to help change the results that you're having in your life. Whether it be relationship, whether it be job, whether it be manifesting children, anything that you want. Maybe more travel, maybe it purely is just to move forward on your spiritual path and discover who you truly are. That certainly is all available by working with the chakras. Now, if you're familiar with my work in the Sacred Pathways to Awakening, I teach about the meridians of the Chinese 5-element system through the yoga and movement, similar to the chakras. Now, in that workshop, we realized that the chakras are actually the root energy for the meridians. So when you're working with the chakras, it's extremely powerful because you're actually working at the level of the root cause energy that can help things flow. Now, can you work with the yoga and work backwards? Absolutely. If you shift the energy in the meridians, it's absolutely going to shift what's happening in the chakra and vice versa. So by combining these two different systems together, or different practices together in some form in your yoga practice, then you're going to see results. And that's what I'm all about. It's not just about experiencing these techniques one time and then moving forward. Oh, that was great, had this experience of the chakras. It actually is something that will transform your life on its own if you are consistent. And that's what I have found, that since I have been consistent for the last, I've been practicing yoga for about 20 years, but really, or more than 20 years, 25. But when I began to be really dedicated and really consistent with the practices, probably the last 8 to 10 years, and really the last 5 where I'm practicing every day in some form, then that the results will speed up for you. So, and don't think you have to dive in, and the only way I'm going to get results is if I work at this 5 or 6, 7 days a week. But it's just like anything. The more effort you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. So if you have time for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, you just take a little snippet from one of these activities, exercises, and you will get benefit from it. So it's just about consistency and commitment, no matter how big or small. If you have that consistency and commitment, you are going to see results. So let's take a little step, or not a step backwards, but actually a step forward and begin to address the chakras specifically. Now I know that there's a lot of pictures that show these big bright discs of light from the base of the pelvis all the way up to the crown, and in actuality the size of the chakras are actually about 2 inches in diameter, and that's the actual size of the chakras. But of course our energy centers expand well beyond that. It expands well beyond our physical body. So so the chakras are small. They move in a clockwise position. If they're moving too fast, then that would be, the chakra would be considered being overactive. And if it's moving too slow, that would mean that the chakra is blocked. And then there's a happy medium in between that. Now, on a day-to-day basis, can the energies be different and shifted? Absolutely, depending on who we're interacting with and what activities we have throughout the day, whether we love them, whether we resist them. That can affect the energies of the chakras. But if we're very firm and do these practices on a regular basis, then it's less likely that things in the outer world are going to shift that energy. So it's all about, the consistency I just spoke about is all about gaining momentum and balance in each one of the chakras. And then when you're able to do that, you will recognize who you truly are and what you're capable of, which is amazing. We're unlimited, limitless beings, and we are conditioned to limit ourselves. So as we all move forward in consciousness and in expanding consciousness as our culture currently is, we're all beginning to wake up to that. And this workshop is all about having that happen, not just in word or an intellectual understanding, because that may be the first stage, but the next stage is actually utilizing these things in practice. Then they gain momentum, and at some point you're no longer fighting with your mind. At some point the practices take over, the energy takes over, and you are becoming more of an observer of your mind, and you can make the mind your friend and use it to focus and create things in your life, manifest things specifically by focusing. But the mind can also be extremely distracting. So that's another gift of aligning your chakras, is that you no longer are at the whim of the mind, but you are actually in control of it. So it's something that if you continue on this path, you will experience. It's hard to put into words. It's something that you really have to experience. And when you're first starting out in this, if you're a very raw beginner, you may feel really relaxed. You may feel expanded. You will feel a shift, but it may be a smaller shift. And as you work with the energies and as your energy opens up, then you'll be able to feel things, sense things more and more. You're going to open up to your intuition. All kinds of things are going to come into your life. So I'm happy to facilitate that. So I want to, let's just take them one at a time. So we're going to first go over the first chakra, and I actually you should have a PDF handout, and I'm just going to read that with you right now, just to give us a base to start from. And also just remember that this is just a starting point. It's not the end all be all. There's many, many books and lots of information about the chakras, which you can access them in the process of writing the book to the Sacred Gateways to Awakening. So that will be available hopefully soon. But again, it's just a guidance. And the most important thing is to not just take it intellectually, but to utilize these practices and experience it for yourself. You may experience something completely different, or something that's specifically related to you. And I want you to be able to be open to that as well. So this information is just a kickoff point until you are able to really connect into your own energy field yourself. So the first chakra, the Sanskrit word for it is Muladhara, which means the root or the base. The color that is related to the chakra is red. Now, this is more than just something that makes a pretty chakra banner. The colors actually are vibrationally resonant with the particular chakra. So as we all know, color is a particular wave, a light wave. And so it holds a specific vibration or a specific frequency. So the color is significant. Actually, if you wear the red color, or if you ingest foods that are red, or you get some colored jars, a red one for the root chakra, and put it in the sun, that will actually infuse the water with that particular vibration. You can drink that water, and it actually will have an effect on your root chakra. So the color is significant. Then also for the root chakra, when it's active, meaning when it's balanced, then you have a feeling of safety and security. You trust life, you trust others, you feel grounded and stable in your finances and primary relationships. You treat your body well and are able to live in the present moment instead of in the past or the future. When it's inactive, you feel nervous and fearful most of the time or much of the time. There's just this background of anxiety, which I hear from many of my clients that is something that is going on in the background all the time. That's very common in our culture. You're closed to meeting new people. You may have a tendency towards jealousy, anger, and resentment. Your mind is taken over by negative thoughts most of the time. Now, the human mind in general, there's been many studies of the human mind, and it is thought that about 70% of the human thoughts are negative in general. So these practices will actually help you to overcome that. And I must say that from my own personal experience, I have recently, and just for certain circumstances, and I believe the practices have really helped me get through a tough time. Probably about 2 years ago, all of a sudden I was having a lot of negative thoughts. I'm usually very optimistic and rooted in these practices and in meditation, and boy, something else just took over, which was really disturbing for me. So I'm like, wait a second, but it actually brought to surface some things that I really had to look at and deal with. I went on a yoga retreat down in Texas, the Siddhayanta Retreat Center, which I would highly recommend. Acharya Sri Yogesh is an enlightened master that is there and accessible in the United States. So that's an unusual situation. But I took advantage of that, went down there, got some specific practices for myself, was very committed to doing them on a daily basis. And coming out on the other side of that, I would say the negativity and my own thought processes has decreased by 60% more, perhaps. I think for the first time in my life, I really have, even if a negative thought comes in, it doesn't have very much juice, very much gas. So it's a pretty amazing experience. I am hoping that it will last with these particular practices that I'm doing consistently, and but just as an example, this is something that you can obtain through these practices. So I'll keep you posted on my progress there. But it does work. It does. It's incredibly powerful. So overactive in the root chakra, you're obsessed with gaining material possessions. You're constantly thinking of your own gains over everyone else. You may be reckless with your physical body and seek high-risk activities. So that would be just the very basics for the root chakra. Now, in this particular workshop, we could go on and on talking about the different tendencies and relationships of the chakras. Like I said, there's many books on that, but what I really wanted to focus on here is more the experience, more the techniques, so you can go in and see what your first chakra is telling you about your life currently. This might help as far as a guideline. You might relate to some of these things, maybe not, but through these practices, you will be able to connect on a deep level and discover that for yourself. So in a moment, I will meet you on the mat and we'll begin.